Hello, this is David Dean, and I'm going to do a dedicated video on what I basically do all my videos on, is how to get through Fortnite by building excellent trap tunnels. I am currently the only person on YouTube who has soloed Twine Peaks 7, 8, 9, and 10 Storm Shield defenses, and 99% of that soloing is done through great trap tunnels. Now, I have videos up going through the walkthroughs of each one of those Storm Shield defenses on how I build them, but a lot of those trap tunnels and buildings wouldn't be really all that good for your normal missions you're running. And I really just want to focus on a few key ones that I think would have a major impact on anybody playing this game who wants to be able to build a trap tunnel that actually functioned extremely well. When I first started this game, everybody was putting up their idea of trap tunnels, and basically most of their trap tunnels were just a long, narrow corridor with a bunch of damage traps all over them. And that might work at lower levels, and sometimes that's all the area you have to build. But to build a really good trap tunnel, and what has worked all the way up to level 100, and actually these trap tunnels, even though I was level 98 at the time, when you do Storm Shield Defense number 10, it's a level 140 mobs, and you have about 1,000 mobs coming through on the waves. And the tunnels hold up great, and you can check the videos if you want. The big difference I did in my kill tunnels was basically this 2x2 square here. And you'll see this used out through my tunnels, and those are videos that are about 2 months old. But when they come in here, there's two key elements. First, you're using the spike traps, which for a long time I thought were worthless, but I actually love them once I realized how good they were, because they do some damage, but they also slow down the husk, and slowing down the husk is absolutely critical. The second part is having two launchers up here, and these launchers hit them back into what I call timeout rooms. So whatever the mobs come in, they're walking on the floor spikes that make them go slower. They hit by the launchers, also taking damage from the traps on top and getting slammed back into these timeout rooms. Once they're back here, they're getting hit by whatever traps you want. A lot of times I will use the freeze traps to lock them in there. The wall darts, the advantage to them is that they shoot over 3 tiles. So even if the mobs are back here 2 tiles away, the wall darts are still doing damage to them. The great thing about the dynamos is they do much more damage than the wall darts, but they have an impact to them. So they can also stun the mobs, so they're sitting back here longer, getting hit by the ceiling trap and the wall darts. And that is why I have the half wall there, because the wall darts can shoot over the half wall. So you got your 4x4 box here. The once again, the floor traps, the wooden floor spikes are critical, and the launchers. But whatever traps you want to put up on top, that's up to you. At higher level, and mainly when you got smashers and other mist monsters coming in, the concentrated zappers work great for taking them out, because all the little stuff is going to just get taken out with the spikes and the regular traps. And also, I like using the gas traps, but I do spread them out. So that way you got a combination of an area effect gas trap taking out everything that comes through or doing damage to everything. And then you have the zapper, which takes out the smashers and other things. And the goal really is to take out everything, but mainly the propane tanks. You don't want those getting anywhere near your stuff. But you build this 2x2 area, and then you just build around that. If there's a chance you can put in another launcher, like here, the mobs want to go up this ramp to my amplifier. Well, that gives me a perfect chance to put another launcher here, which if they come around just sends them all the way back to here. And that's what you use to really determine if you want to put up these little walls. I usually don't, just because I like these a little bit better, mainly if you got a launcher back here, because like my launchers will send the smaller husks back 2 or 3 tiles, and I don't want these getting in the way of them being launched back. The other thing is, basically what you're doing here is creating a clog. Everything comes in, all those mobs get hit back, they try to get out, and they get hit back again. If you get too many clogged in there, the propane guys will just throw their tanks to blow their way out of the area. Smashers will charge and knock everything out. So while it is correct that if you're doing, like, one thing people like to do, like this triangle, if you end up putting this here, if you get any decent amount of mobs coming through here, they're just going to start bashing it all down. So that's up to you how you want to run that. At lower levels, that's probably a good idea, because it seems that the mob's damage to structures goes way up the higher level you get. So at lower levels, if you put 3-tier metal here, they'll be banging on it a long time. At level 100, you put a 3-tier metal here, they'll take it down in a heartbeat, or like I said, the propane guys will just blow it up. But that's up to each person. But I started with these 2x2s, and then from there, I used to have a wall up here, and then I realized to use the same idea here, where they come in, and it has just one. And actually I'm going to hop over to another one to show you the just one. So it's right here. So you have a timeout room, where basically whatever comes in gets hit back over here, gets zapped, electrified, everything else, and then tries to come out again and gets hit again. And that just keeps happening. If you watch my videos, I sit here for quite a while, because all these husks have to do is get across this one tile to here, or 2 tiles to here, to come into the main tunnel. And it takes them a long time to have that happen. But I have it there with just one timeout room. But here I have a room with a launcher, sends them back over here, where I had a launcher which sent them back here, and I had another dynamo here. So now they have to get by all 3 launchers to come back out, and they just keep getting sent back. And a lot of this is just that there is no perfect tunnel. You build the tunnel to the landscape you have, but you're always, at least my focus always in it, the number one focus is to send them back, push them back, and then have them do damage as secondary. And a big part of that is to give them a clear path to walk through. That way they're not bashing your tunnels or beating up on anything. To them, this is the fastest, easiest way to go straight up to my amplifier. But my traps make it nearly impossible. And that's the one I use on that. And even over here where I have the entrance, once again, they get sent over here, get hit by a launcher, timeout room back here. And there's just 100 different ways you can manipulate that. I'm going to show you a little different variation of that. It's actually the one I started with, and I changed it to that one, but it's another 2x2 area. And this one worked great mainly with smashers, because you come in right away, you got a launcher. Most we get hit back by that, but the Husky Husk and the smashers would get by it. Well, then they get hit by another one. Smashers, level 140 smashers, would still keep on walking, but then they get hit by a third one, which pretty well would take them out. But if not, then they're getting hit by the 4th. And all of this is in a 2x2 area. And when they got sent back from this one, it would hit them here. They would take impact damage from the dynamo, which decreases their resistance, because basically, like, the smashers have a counter, and every time they get hit with impact, that counter goes down until it gets 0. When it gets 0, then they get stunned or launched or frozen or whatever the effect is at that time. So I'm using the dynamos to reduce that impact limit on the smashers, so they get hit by another launcher, hit by another launcher, and then they're sent right back out where they came in through. And it works amazingly well, this 2x2 thing. One thing though is, do not stand next to it. Stand away from it, at least 2 tiles, because if you get propane in there and they can detect you through walls, they will throw their propane. And I do have a problem. I've stopped putting this up in groups, because every time I put it up in a group, somebody comes along and they put up triangles in it. Well, if you put a triangle in it, yeah, it slows down the first wave, but it stops the launcher from launching them back 2 tiles, which is the goal of the entire trap. And yeah, I literally can keep hundreds of husks out from going up by just keep sending them through this again and again. And once again, it's a small 2x2 area. And usually you want to line it up, if at all possible, like if you have an atlas there, the center of the atlas should be right on the door here to make sure the most come through there and they don't have any issue with it. But I'm going to show you a little more. Once again, I got a launcher here going back to 1 tile timeout area. Here, I got really creative, because this, I think this was the wave where I had 1,000 mobs with, on a few of the Storm Shield defenses, it was smashers and propane. And then on 10, where it was level 140, it was just propane, but it was a ton of propane. And nothing was destroyed. Almost every single tile lasted the entire 1,000 mobs. And once again, I have videos on that. But on this, to slow them down, they get launched here, back here, to this one, to this one, to this one. And like I said, my launchers were launching 2 to 3 tiles away. So about half of them would get launched right back out here where they started. And then they'd have to go up, go around, and go through the whole thing again. And then, even if they got past that one, I had a launcher on the wall here, which would send them back. And once again, they'd be sent into the timeout areas. And then here, this is straight the amplifiers right there, as you can see. I did have your standard trap tunnel. In this case, I used the freeze traps because it's at the back at the very end. And freeze traps actually work really good on stopping the propane and the smashers. And it stops them cold. Like the pun, freeze traps? All right. Anyway, and then you got the dynamos doing the impact damage and massive damage to them. And then I did have traps up here, but it got used up. But once again here, I had another of the 2x2 rooms that I've been using since soloing the higher level Storm Shield defenses. And these things work great. I got a series of videos I'm doing on soloing Atlas 3 or Category 3 Atlas, Category 3 Survive the Storm, Deliver the Bomb, and I'm trying to get all of them, but you'll see me using these rooms. And once again, they're just getting slammed back in the timeout areas. They try to go over here to the amplifier. They got one more launcher right there to deal with, which sends them right back. Once again, I did do just 1 tile strip here, just to make them have to walk just a little bit further. And the reason I used them here and not in the other location, the major spawn point was coming in through that tunnel. Here you had a major spawn point on that side and a minor spawn point over here. So since this was a minor spawn point, I wasn't as worried about them getting clogged up and the propane's throwing, and it worked. Nothing got destroyed. Show you one more variant I did here. Once again, the 1 tile one. But here I did the launcher into a launcher, into a launcher, into a launcher over a cliff, which sends them right back, and that was the spawn point right there. And during the whole thing, I just sat in the back, and I could watch their little health bars go down and watch them go flying through the air, and it worked just exceptionally well. I'm going to run you over to another one. Unfortunately, I did have some flingers bash through here. But like I said, I got a whole video of all the different ones I did if you want to check them out. But like over here, I did a 4-tile drop trap tunnel, which is really awesome, but not something you're going to do normally. You're not going to do this massive build for a normal mission, so I won't bore you with all that. I really want to focus on trap tunnels that will really help you on your day-to-day missions. And if you haven't been into Twine Peaks, you're on top of a volcano and you got lava all over the place. And getting from end to end is extremely difficult, so that's why the launchers. But I just wanted to show you one more variation I did over here, because this was a minor spawn point up here. Everything would come over here and drop. I would have the launchers sending everything out. If they came down, and when they drop, they usually pause for a second, so this would launch them in the sky. These launchers would launch them out. But originally I had the 2x2 room here, but they were getting clogged, as I mentioned, because so many were coming through, and with the smashers taking up so much room, when that clog happened, they would just blow everything up. And this is it after the running of it. Basically, you still got 2 launchers here on the walls. You no longer have a divide here, but what happens, we'll go with, if they get by this first launcher, they get hit by this launcher into the timeout area. This launcher sends them over. Launcher does up to a 45, which slams them back here. And once again, my launcher there does 2 to 3 tiles. It'll move them. And then this final launcher boots them right back out. They have to go through the trap area, back up here, and right back where they started, and they just kept doing loops. And in order to stop the smashers, you can't stop the smashers with just one launcher hitting it. You need to hit it 2 or 3 times, or even 4 times. And even if they got through this, they had to go through 1 tile with the dynamos, once again do an impact, and then they would hit another launcher and get sent back into that area. But that is what I really wanted to go through. Like I said, the base of my building now for trap tunnels is doing these 2x2 areas and then building off of that, seeing how I can make those work, make them last a little bit longer. And then the other thing is just to get way back. Like I said, I don't build too much in groups anymore, because I'll build something like this, somebody will see a propane and they'll throw a grenade at it and blow up the entire trap tunnel. So be ready for that, unfortunately, or make sure you warn everybody not to do that. And if you want to see more of my trap builds and the insane things I did for Storm Shield defenses 7, 8, and 9, 10, or you just want to see what you have to look forward to in the future, because you do get the same waves for everybody. They do, if you have the exact same amplifiers put down as I do, they will attack in the same pattern as they did for me. They might attack the amplifier from a different direction, but they will attack the same amplifiers. But if you have different amplifiers put down, then they will go in a different order, but you will still have the same waves, I do believe, of us coming in, whether it's a propane wave, smasher wave, so on and so on. So you know how to build your base up. But I think out there, I'm probably the person who has used traps the most for soloing and getting high-level missions done in the entire game right now. I'm not trying to brag, I'm just a fact that right now I'm the only person who has done this at the higher levels. So I hope this helps, and ask me all your trap questions. If you can't tell, this is my favorite part of Fortnite. Building traps, figuring out how best to use them to make it where I don't have to fire a shot a lot of times in order to complete a level 100 mission. Unfortunately, I do get bored, so I'll go in and start shooting when I don't need to. Usually it does more harm than good, but this is about playing a game and having fun, so that's what I do. So enjoy and have an amazing time.